Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I hope I can get the lighting just right to do this justice. So, this is my favorite thing to pour as of late. I call them Putin Dirty Bombs. I'll get to why in a second. And I have a hemisphere mold made of graphite, and it takes about 4 pounds of bismuth to fill the graphite mold, and then you have to empty out the bismuth at just the right time. The timing is always tricky. There's also one other aspect to it. You can start the crystal growth process by dropping a small piece of bismuth in there at just the right time. Again, timing is crucial. If it's too early, that piece of bismuth will just melt right into the whole thing. If it's too late, you may get crystals that grow from different angles and they might not merge correctly. So, um, a lot of trial and error. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into my bismuth art, which is what a lot of people don't seem to understand. They think I have a fun time with it. I'm making a living doing what I love, and my bismuth art career has really taught me that there's no such thing as a job where you only do what you love. There may be aspects of the job that you love as you're doing it. A lot of people feel a lot of envy for certain careers, and one thing I learned about making bismuth art is pause the video for a second and think about what it entails to make bismuth art. Think for 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. I guarantee you probably thought about sitting in front of the melting pot and maybe playing with it, right? Maybe you thought about uh, bragging about the crystals you made, right? Creating a Instagram account, right? Making YouTube videos about what you made. Well, the thing is that a lot of logistics go into it as well. What do I mean by that? Well, I live in an apartment, and I can't really just do this in the kitchen. I gotta lug around several pieces of gear. I got a favorite spot in the park to do this. There's a spot outside at my workplace as well. But again, I got a lot of gear to bring up there. And so to give you an idea how much gear I have to lug around, it's not uncommon for me to get to somewhere where I could do this safely. Oh my god, I forgot to bring this one thing that I need. Could be something really trivial. I tried to think the last time I did this. Forgot a mold, forgot a pot, forgot some containers. You get the idea, right? And and then at the end of it, for bismuth, it's not so bad. For some other metals that might not be as safe to work with, there's PPE, there's cleaning and decontaminating myself, and then I don't need to tell you that bismuth is a heavy metal, right? To lug it around to an art show, the logistics of making it to that art show are a big piece of that equation as well. And I gotta be careful though, because people ask me, how do you make this? And then they only hear the fun parts, right? I'm not gonna tell people about all the PPE I have to wear and all the gear I have to lug around, right? And the fact that I have to lug all this stuff around, right? And it's a problem. People here in the United States, we don't like to reward good talent, right? We need to hear blood, sweat, and tears, right? So, for example, I do a lot of tutoring as well. A lot of times, it's kind of funny. I tutor mostly math and computer science, but sometimes I'm asked to tutor a subject that I'm not very familiar with, right? It's just one of those things that you have to work around, right? Because kids need whatever they need, right? I find I have a better I tend to do a lot better in terms of my career, in terms of pay, tutoring subjects that I'm not really good at. Why? Because the kids and or their parents see me sweat working with them, and they think they get their money's worth. When I'm tutoring computer science, oh my god, the parents think that I'm reading the kids a bedtime story, and then they have to pay 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour, they feel gypped. It's kind of weird, right? And if you only listen to all the fun parts of doing bismuth art, if you forget that bismuth is heavy, you forget all the gear that goes into it, you forget the fact that you have no social life doing it, you forget that for every one of these good pours, there are probably 5 or 6 that I had to remelt, right? If you forget that part of the equation, it's very easy to feel gypped, right? So I gotta be careful how I present myself. One thing that I tend not to do these days, even if I get a bad pour, I'll still bring it to the show to sell for a good price. You know, if people just want something, right? For 2 reasons. Number one, it's a lot better for this to sit on somebody's shelf than to be remelted, right? Even if it's a bad pour. And number 2, it gives people the idea that, you know, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into any one of these, right? But this is my favorite. I'm getting better at this anyway. I haven't remelted one in ages now. Even when I have to remelt one, usually there's at least a couple of good crystals in there that I can pluck out first. I call these Putin Dirty Bombs because, when Putin first invaded Ukraine and Ukrainians were fleeing to Poland, I thought, and I recorded videos about this at the time, I thought when we finally execute Putin, the perfect poison for doing that would be polonium-210 because of Poland's contribution to the whole war efforts. I was hoping we would execute Putin on July 18, 2023, the 125th anniversary of Mary Curie discovering polonium-210. And I created a petition on my channel asking you guys to sign it. Well, the day has come and gone, right? Polonium-210, believe it or not, is made from bismuth nowadays. I mean, Mary Curie discovered it from the ground, but nowadays we have alchemy. And one way that I thought about for making polonium-210 is we could launch one of these into space, and there's plenty of background neutron radiation. We could concentrate it, activate the bismuth into polonium. I wonder what that would look like. If anybody could do a animation or something to simulate what it would look like for a macroscopic bismuth crystal like this to be converted into polonium and to be launched at the Kremlin. I'd love to see that, right? Anyway, I just think that would be a fitting ending, if that's possible, I'd like to make a very beautiful crystal for the occasion, just so it can make the news, right? At whatever time this is going to be launched, and all right. But I got a comment the other day about why I have long fingernails. It's normally not this dirty. I've just been working with a lot of stuff. But one thing I find very helpful after a pour is there's always a lot of stray bismuth on the edges. Fingernails are really good for cleaning that off. They're soft enough to not scratch the bismuth, right? I don't want to be taking a hard object for doing that. And also, fingernails obviously don't feel heat, right? So I can do that when it's still hot. I can't think of another material where that would work with, right? It's kind of a weird tool that I've discovered. One of the tools of my trade, right? Along with all the heavy gear that I have to move all around. That's what people don't seem to get, right? They think I'm having a great time, right? All right.